Yes, Mayor, that's actually the intent of the ordinance, is to merely continue the existing regulations that are under federal law as of yesterday. Certainly, as is noted in the staff report, business owners may not have the expertise to decide what risk an animal might bring, whether it's an unsafe a hazard to the other customers or a disease risk or something. So they have to make a decision on that. And in recent law back in 2007, as a matter of fact, in a federal case involving Catalina Island, the court decided that a business owner who had to make an on-the-spot decision that turned out to be incorrect could correct that decision and be immune from any liability. So I think the law and ADA regulations or former regulations anticipate that there might be some difficult decisions that business owners have to make on the spot, so to speak. But our intent is, or the intent of the ordinance is to just basically continue the same rules that have been in place for over 20 years.
Mayor, I have a question. In the ordinance that we've written, there's a line or passage, I'm not exactly sure where, it states that private individuals or private entities have a private right of action against business owners that, or against establishments. I'm not sure exact wording, possibly you can read it. Doesn't that entail that people have the right to bring action if they're denied access?
Yes, Councilmember, that is correct. It is this ordinance would be a city code adoption, and violations of city code are generally rectified by administrative fines or city enforcement. In this case, typically what we're talking about is that a citizen is denied access, potentially. And so that language was added to the ordinance that the city wouldn't necessarily be in a position to enforce the ordinance as code enforcement, but the resident or the person denied access could bring an action under state law to enforce the city's ordinance.
Okay, the other question I have for you is, you mentioned the Catalina case, and you said that if a business owner, for instance, errs and makes a mistake, that he's given time to make a correction. Would that correction then entail the admittance of the person with whatever animal was denied?
I suppose that's possible if the animal was a service animal.
Okay, so at what point, if the ordinance doesn't call for the city to determine who actually has a service animal by licensing, who then picks up that saber?
It would be the citizen or the person who is claiming a service animal. It wouldn't be the city. The person would have to prove either to the court or to the business owner that the service animal was actually necessary for that person's disability.
But wouldn't that be through a private right of action, hence a lawsuit?
That's correct.
Yeah. It'd be rectified, there's no dollar value damage done.
Under the recent law from a few years ago, that's right, the business owner could correct the situation and be immune from liability.
But again, wouldn't that correction, if the person with the animal in question was denied access, wouldn't the correction be to allow access? I mean, I'm not trying to make a mockery of this, just it would seem simple. If one was denied, the correction would be access.
Under that law, that case law, yes, that is how the business owner could correct an improper denial of service by allowing the person to come in with a service animal.
Okay.
But understand you correctly, yes.
I understand. But if this ordinance did not exist, if this ordinance did not come on the books, this discussion wouldn't be taking place because it would then be governed by state and federal regulations. Is that correct?
Yes, except that under ADA rules, their service dogs and apparently miniature horses are allowed to be service animals. So the same situation could face a business owner if a customer brought in a miniature horse, for example, and the business owner had to decide whether that horse was going to create some kind of havoc or bring some sort of disease or something, so the business owner would have that decision to make on the spot. If the city passed this ordinance, the rule would apply to other animals besides dogs and miniature horses.
Last question, I promise. Are we, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah,
Are we the only city that you've heard or know of that is considering such an ordinance throughout
Yes.
the state?
Yes. I will say, a few months ago, I'd never given much thought to this issue.
Nor I, sir.
One last question for me. When you have a service animal, dog, rat, horse, miniature horse, you have to carry, or should carry, the certification with you that this is a service animal. So if I walk into Scott's business with my German Shepherd, who is not a service animal, and he requests to see my certification, I have to provide that certification, or I...
No.
No,
Yes.
it
No.
says right here.
Ordinance says no.
However, business owners cannot require persons to present a license, and the business owner
Bill,
must provide
please.
access to
Bill.
the service animal.
Bill, it's not your turn
I'm
to
sorry,
ask
man,
about it.
it's in your writing.
No, it's not my right.
Under the ordinance, which I believe is consistent with federal law, the business owner, the public accommodation can ask about the nature of a person's disability and ask if that animal is required to serve that person due to that disability.
And do we
No.
not have a program in our town to where if you have a service animal, you can go to our animal control, show them the certification, and then we have a tag that you can attach to your animal or carry with you?
The city has considered an optional program for
Yeah.
people to come in and get a certification of a service animal.
Mike,
It's not
I am
required.
so sorry.
Bill.
It says right here, Mike,
Bill.
Public comment is.
Hush, thank you.
that you can't ask.
Public comment is closed. We have a program where we've had it for a number of years. You can come in with your certification and get a tag from our city animal control and have it on your animal. Any other questions?
I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Call for the question, I've made a motion.
Motion by Councilmember Smith,
Second.
seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Blook.
And this is to approve
To approve the ordinance.
the ordinance.
Second reading. You guys might as well bring Rizzo back.
You might,